Good morning to those who listen. It is March 19th, 2026, 12:04 a.m. And here's some Bible changes in Luke 23. And I'm just going to say straight off the bat, anybody that reads the New Testament, is reading Matthew, Mark, Luke, or John, how in the world do you not see all these changes? There's 56 verses in Luke chapter 23, and there's 32 verses that have changes between King James Version and the NIV version. So we're going to be going through both of those. What is going on? So verse 1 has, and the whole multitude. Now the actual verse 1 in the King James is okay, but the NIV is the whole assembly. Assembly? What is this, like a school function now? What's going on? All right, so back to the King James Version, verse 2. And they began to accuse him, saying, "We found this fellow," so Jesus is a fellow, "perverting the nation and forbidding to give tribute to Caesar, saying that he himself is Christ a king." What? So, does anybody remember Jesus failing to give tribute to Caesar? He always, remember, he showed, show me a denarius, which turned out to be a penny, and then give unto Caesar what is his. So how in the world did that happen? Over in the NIV version for verse 2, and they began to accuse him, saying, "We have found this man subverting our nation, subverting our nation. He opposes payment of taxes to Caesar." What? He claims to be Messiah, a king. Now Jesus isn't the king, he's just a king. Verse 5 in the King James Version is, where's it at? "And they were the more fierce, saying, he stirreth up the people," "teaching throughout all Jewry, beginning from Galilee to this place." And in the NIV, "but they insisted, he stirs up the people." Verse 7, "And as soon as he knew that he belonged unto Herod's jurisdiction," what? And same in the NIV, jurisdiction is now in there. Verse 8, "And when Herod saw Jesus, he was exceeding glad." Not exceedingly, but exceeding glad. Does anybody remember Herod being happy to see Jesus? "For he was desirous to see him of a long season." The NIV version, "When Herod saw Jesus, he was greatly pleased, because for a long time he had been wanting to see him." Verse 9 is bad English in the King James. "Then he questioned with him in many words, but he answered him nothing." The NIV is starting to really change. "He plied him with many questions, but Jesus gave him no answer." Verse 10, "And the chief priests and scribes stood and vehemently accused him." And that's also what it says in the NIV. Verse 11, "And Herod with his men of war set him at naught, and mocked him, and arrayed him in a glorious robe." NIV, "Then Herod and his soldiers ridiculed and mocked him, dressing him in an elegant robe." Does anybody remember this? Verse 12, King James Version, "And the same day Pilate and Herod were made friends together." They were made friends together, and I guess they were Facebook friends. "For before they were at enmity between themselves. That day Herod and Pilate became friends. Long dash. Before this, they had been enemies." King James Version of 14, NIV is okay, I guess. "Said unto them, Ye have brought this man unto me as one that perverteth the people. And behold, I, having examined him before you, have found no fault in this man, touching those things whereof ye accuse him." Verse 15, "No, nor yet Herod, No, nor yet Herod? For I sent you to him, and lo, nothing worthy of death is done unto him. Sorry, I got to go back to verse 14 of the NIV. And said to them, you brought me this man as one who was inciting. Now we got inciting. Like inciting a resurrection. The people to rebellion. So Jesus was inciting the people to rebellion. I examined him in your presence and have found no basis for the charges against him. Does anybody remember 16 in the King James Version? I will therefore chastise him and release him. What? And then the NIV says, therefore I will punish him and then release him. Verse 17, here we got an emoticon. For the necessity he must release one unto them at the feast. Believe it or not, verse 17 in the NIV is gone. They just totally deleted it out. 18 in the King James Version is okay, but over in the NIV it says, but the whole crowd shouted, away with this man! Exclamation point. Release Barabbas unto us! Exclamation point. I'm going to have to make this two parts again. Verse 19 in the King James, and we got emoticon, who for a certain sedation made in the city and for murder was cast into prison. And the NIV, I guess Barabbas was at January 6th. Barabbas had been thrown into prison for an insurrection in the city and for murder. And also an emoticon. Emoji, but it's the emoticon. Verse 22 in the King James, and he said unto them the third time, why, what evil hath he done? I have found no cause of death in him. No cause of death in him? I will therefore chastise him and let him go. 22 in the NIV. And the NIV, I couldn't believe how many changes and how crazy the NIV is getting now. For the third time he spoke to them, why? What crime has this man committed? I have found in him no grounds for the death penalty. I guess he's getting electrocution now. Therefore, I will have punished and then release him. How can anybody read this and not see these changes? What is happening, people? Can you not see? Are your eyes not open to see this stuff? I don't understand how people can't see this. Verse 23, and they were instant with loud voices. NIV, but with loud shouts, they insistently demanded that he be crucified, and their shouts prevailed. King James Version, verse 24, and Pilate gave sentence that it should be as they required. And over in the NIV, it just says, so Pilate decided to grant their demand. And in 25, we got sedation and murder, and he released unto them him that for sedation and murder was cast into prison, whom they had desired. But he delivered Jesus to their will. But NIV is, he released the man who had been thrown into prison for the January 6th insurrection and murder, the one they asked for, and surrendered Jesus to their will. Insurrection. Ain't that amazing? Verse 26 is okay in the King James Version, but in the NIV, as the soldiers led him away, they seized Simon from Cyrene, who was on his way in from the country, and put the cross on him and made him carry it behind Jesus. No, I don't remember that. And even in like movies and stuff, he was like beside him, not behind. Verse 27, the King James Version is sexist. And there followed him a great company of people and of women. So there's a great company of people, but then and of women. So the women are downgraded here, which also bewailed and lamented him. The NIV says a large number of people followed him, including women. So that one's not bad. Okay, so at this point, Jesus is carrying the cross. He's exhausted. He has Simon helping him carry the cross. And then does anybody remember him saying all these things? I remember the daughters of Jerusalem, weep not for me. But look at verse 29. For behold, the days are coming in the which they shall say, blessed are the barren and the wombs that never bare, and the paps which never gave suck. And then the NIV says, for the time will come when you will say, blessed are the childless women, the wombs that have never bore, and the breasts that never nursed. Verse 30 in the King James, then shall they begin to say to the mountains, fall on us, and to the hills cover us. Do you remember this being Jesus saying this before he was crucified? The NIV version is absolutely nuts. Then, in a whole bunch of space, they will say to the mountains, fall on us, and to the hills cover us, and a whole bunch of space in between. What is happening in the NIV? And then Jesus said this, for if they do these things in a green tree, what shall be done in the dry? The NIV sounds a little better, for if people do these things when the tree's green, what will happen when it is dry? Verse 33, I could have sworn it said Golgotha, or the skull, the place where it's called the skull. But now in the King James is, and when they were come to the place which is called Calvary, there they crucified him, and the malefactors? Oh, I skipped 32, sorry. And there were also two other malefactors led with him to be put to death. And in the NIV, two other men, both criminals, were also led out with him to be executed. When they came to the place called the skull, they crucified him there along with the criminals, one on his right and one on his left. All right, this is part one. We're going to have to do a part two, believe it or not. Thanks for watching. God bless.